So this dresser has actually been with me for over a decade. It was my grandmother's. She gave it to me for my first son's nursery. I flipped it. It wasn't the best, but I was so proud of it. But recently I just gave it a new makeover and truly a huge glow up. It's completely different from what it was. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I built the scalloped base, just the base. If you want the full makeover, I have a full video of that from start to finish. I'll link it below so you can watch that. But if you're just interested in how to make a scalloped base, I've got you. Let's go ahead and get started. So first I had to remove this skirting. If you already have a flat bottom to your dresser or piece of furniture, you can skip this step and go straight to building your base. If you do have a skirt or apron to your dresser, you might be able to reuse it to build your base, but I find it is just easier to start from scratch, so that's what I'm going to be showing you here today. The side panels of this dresser were one sheet of plywood, so I had to trim off those sides to be even with the new front, just so I had a nice even surface so that I could attach the new base to. There are a couple of ways to do this. If you have a track saw, which I do, that's probably the easiest way. I have no idea why I did it this way, but I think it might be helpful because a lot of people have a circular saw, but not a track saw. So hopefully this is helpful to you. So I basically cut off anything that I could attach the new base onto. So I had some 3/4 inch plywood lying around and decided to use this as the new dresser bottom. This would also give me a solid surface to attach the new base onto once I built it. I just used some wood glue and my pin nailer, which is a 20 gauge brad nailer essentially, to attach the plywood onto the dresser with. How many pin nails is too many? Just asking for a friend. While the wood glue dried, I mixed up some Bondo, which is a great product to use if you have large areas you are trying to fill and smooth out. In this case, I wanted the plywood edges to look like a solid surface and not one that has holes in it. And while you can use wood filler for this application, I tend to grab Bondo because it dries really quick and a lot harder than wood filler does, so it gives a nice smooth surface for a nice finish once you paint it. It does smell terrible though, so probably not great for your lungs. Just make sure you're wearing proper PPE. Okay, so now it's time to make the furniture base. And when you go to the store, you need to pick up 3 things material-wise. The first is a piece of 2x2. I'm using poplar here. You can also use oak. I only use oak though if I'm going to stain it. Here I'm going to be painting it. So poplar it is, it's cheaper. And a piece of 1x4. These two are going to connect together to make the furniture base. So just make sure you get enough of this to account for one side of the length of your dresser and the sides of your dresser. You don't actually need a piece for the back. It'll save you money. You just don't need it. So now that you have the materials for the base of your dresser, you should probably already have some of the measurements to calculate how much wood you actually needed. But this is the formal calculation for it. You want to measure the bottom of the dresser, the width, the depth, and then how high you want your dresser to be. For mine, it's 40 inches wide. It's 18 inches depth, and I want it to be about 6 inches in height. I'm gonna share with you a formula so you can take a screenshot of and have on your phone just for easy reference, so you don't have to think about it in the future. It'll be easy to pull up. So here's a quick overview of the cuts that you need and how to calculate each piece. It seems overwhelming, but I promise you it is so simple. I'm not going to walk you through it. Just drop any questions that you have, if any, and then just use your miter saw to make your cuts. Now take the 1x4 inch piece, because that's where the scalloped edging will go, and draw on a template. Now the scalloped edging took a little bit of trial and error. In fact, I'll show you how not to do it first, because I originally started at one end of the board instead of in the center. This was a big mistake. That meant the scallops did not line up evenly, and I ended up with one full circle on one side and a weird kind of chopped off shape on the other.
Not ideal. So I should have started from the middle so that both of my ends look symmetrical where the legs attach. The other issue was that the circles were a little too big with the first cup that I used, so I tried a spray can and it gave me the exact size I was looking for. If you plan to build one of these, it might be a little trial and error on your part too, but at least start in the middle of the board when you're drawing out these scallops, and try a spray can first because it worked for me, so hopefully it works for you too. Now it was time to cut out the scalloped edging, and first and foremost, make sure that your clamp is nice and tight because otherwise your wood's going to move just like it did here and you're going to get an uneven cut. But once I fixed that, this part was actually trickier than I expected. Definitely more time consuming, but I did figure it out and I'll share my tips and tricks. I've seen people use a router table to make the scalloped edging, but I don't have that tool and I don't know if a lot of people do. So I decided to go with my jigsaw, which I think a lot of people do have a jigsaw. The key here is using a scroll blade for the jigsaw. It really helps you follow that curved shape better. I'll link the one that I use below in the description. Once the full scalloped edging was done, I gave them a good sanding because the jigsaw did leave a few bumps, so I just grabbed my orbital sander with 220 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out. It's time to assemble the furniture base, so I grabbed my Kreg pocket hole jig and drilled 2 pocket holes on each end of the 1x4. That's just going to give a clean, strong joint without any visible screws from the outside. Then I applied a bit of wood glue where the board meets the leg. Pocket holes is just a type of joint and one that I use in almost every build because Kreg has made it so easy to drill pocket holes. I will link the jig that I use below. If you drill a lot of pocket holes, I highly, highly, highly recommend this one. So after lining everything up, I drove in the Kreg screws through the pocket holes to attach the apron to the leg. I used 1¼ inch Kreg pocket hole screws to attach these. And that was it. Look how cute it is. Now, I just repeated for all 3 sides. I didn't do one for the back because it's not needed structurally for the dresser. I forgot to drill pocket holes in the skirting to attach the base to the actual dresser, so I have to do that now, which honestly isn't a big deal. You can drill these in whenever. Just when I go to drill them, I typically leave between 6 to 8 inches in between each pocket hole and making sure I do them on the sides as well. And the final step is attaching the actual base to the dresser. And to do this, I just use some more wood glue and the same type of pocket hole screws and attach the base to the dresser. Now, if you ever plan to remove this base from the dresser itself, I would not use wood glue. However, I am never planning to remove this because it's going to be painted and almost look seamless. So I went ahead and wood glued just as extra precaution to make sure that it sticks really well. And that's it. This base got such an upgrade from what it used to look like. I'm honestly gonna have to stop myself from putting this on every dresser I refinish. Let me know if you have any questions and make sure to subscribe for more furniture makeovers and DIYs.